Hi, everyone. So grateful to be here with you all. And before I start, I'd like to say thank you to all the patients that are here and sharing your stories. And I attend most of the conferences in the field as I can, but I also have the great opportunity to be in meetings like this, where I get to meet and hear stories from the patients. And those meetings like this never leave my heart and give me motivation and inspiration for the rest of the year. So really thank you all for being here and sharing your stories. I've always learned tons from you. And then second, thanks to Mayo and MOG Project for this wonderful meeting. I mean, Mayo has been leading the science in terms of diagnosing, coming up with assays, really pioneering in the science, which the impact is not only the US, of course, it's global. I work with colleagues like across the world, centers in Japan that they send the samples to all the way to Mayo. So it's just fascinating. And then MOG Project, of course, we have heard wonderful stories from the patients, but we really are honored to collaborate with MOG Project, and we are in events like this. Part of the reason, apart from meeting all of you wonderful people, is getting to learn how we can contribute, how I can contribute to better quality of life for all the patients. So please let us know. I'm here after the meeting. I've shared my contact with some of you, but we are always eager to learn how we can do better for you guys. So thank you for the opportunity. So if you can have my slides up, please. There we go. Can we go to the next slide? So these are my disclaimers, which we can skip. Next slide, please. So, perfect. So what I'm going to tell you about is a little bit about satralizumab. So you have already heard about its approval in NMOSD. You heard also about tocilizumab during the day, which is another IL-6 inhibitor or inhibitor of the interleukin-6. But my main goal is also to tell you a little bit about the Meteoroid trial, which is a phase 3 randomized clinical trial for satralizumab, specifically in MOGAD. And like I said, if any of you is interested, this study is still recruiting, so we'll still have an opportunity to recruit. So please come find me after this, and we can make sure that you're connected to a site closest to you. So what is IL-6 or interleukin-6, and why is it important? So you heard a little bit about tocilizumab. So interleukin-6 is a very important cytokine, which is believed to play an important role in a lot of biological and cellular processes within the body, both within the central nervous system, but also like in the periphery. So there's a list of like different effects of cascades where IL-6 plays an important role. I'm not gonna cover them all, but importantly, the differentiation of B cell and T cells, and also like the permeability of the blood-brain barrier, are one of some of the two key pathways where IL-6 plays a role in MOGAD and also neuromyelitis optica. So as a result, you can imagine there is a belief that IL-6 plays a role in a number of autoimmune conditions. So it's a big list here, but again, I'm sure this is not a comprehensive list of all the diseases where IL-6 plays a role. So as you can see, neuromyelitis optica, or NMOSD, is the key disorder that we have been focused in the past 10 years or so. So we started with a phase 3 clinical trial in NMOSD. Now, satralizumab has been approved in NMOSD field for the past 5 years, together with the other approved treatments that Dr. Chen showed in his slide. And the outcomes have been very positive, both from efficacy and safety perspective. So we have collected now 10-year safety data for satralizumab in NMOSD, and considering the overlapping symptoms of NMOSD and MOGAD, I think that the data is translatable to MOGAD. So it's not how the field was 5 years ago before the approval of FDA. Now, satralizumab has been approved in 92 countries for NMOSD, and over 5,000 patients have been treated with the drug out there. So I think these are all helpful comments that hopefully, if we get a label in MOGAD, if the study is positive, then we can basically leverage from those data points, especially from the safety perspective. And MOGAD is a key clinical trial that we currently are running, but again, our exploration did not stop there. And in the diseases that you see here, we also had a trial in myasthenia gravis, and unfortunately, although the positive outcomes of the trial, the data from an efficacy perspective was not good enough to continue with the product launch. But we also have a phase 3 clinical trial in autoimmune encephalitis that you see on the list, and also the thyroid eye disease that is also listed here. So we're really trying to see the impact of satralizumab and blockade of IL-6 in different diseases with an autoimmune condition. So now focusing more on MOGAD, the Meteoroid study, let's talk about a little bit about that. So Dr. Chen mentioned about the reason behind doing the clinical trials, and so definitely efficacy and safety is very important, and that's the main rationale for doing the Meteoroid study. This is the first phase 3 randomized clinical trial for satralizumab in MOGAD patients versus placebo. Apart from efficacy and safety, we are also interested in understanding the pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics of the drug. So in other words, we want to know how much of the drug will be available in the blood and also in the CSF after administration of satralizumab, how the immune system would respond to that, what would be the levels of the receptor, and all of these scientific questions would help physicians understand if a patient is doing well on satralizumab or not. Because at the end of the day, our goal is for patients to be able to be on the best treatment at every single point. So in terms of methods, the total number of patients that are planned for this study is 152 patients, and we have been recruiting for some time, but the recruitment window is still open. We are probably at later stages of recruitment. So again, I think that emphasizes if you are interested to be part of this trial, to speak to your doctor and also our company. In terms of eligibility, it's pretty straightforward. Any patient 12 years old and older is eligible for this trial. And I think that's important to emphasize because, in NMOSD, for example, our study only included patients 18 and above. So this study has the advantage of being able to recruit for adolescent patients as well. And so the patients, in terms of, again, eligibility criteria, have to be MOG positive and also relapsing MOGAD patients. So at least one MOGAD relapse within the last year prior to screening, or 2 MOGAD attacks within 2 years prior to screening. And randomization is 1-to-1. So once you get into the trial, you have 50% chance of being on satralizumab. And after the double-blind treatment period, you have the opportunity to still receive satralizumab in the open-label extension. And our goal for that part of the trial is to continue collecting efficacy and safety data for satralizumab. And like I said, for NMOSD, we have now 10-year data as a result of that open-label extension. So the same thing will continue. The duration will be defined, how long we can continue that, but that's the rationale behind the open-label extension. Another thing I want to mention is during the double-blind treatment phase, if you are on placebo or satralizumab, if a patient has a relapse, you will automatically be switched to open-label extension. So let's say if you are on placebo and you have a relapse, then you're not going to have that risk of being on placebo. You're going to switch to satralizumab immediately. So I just wanted to also clarify that. So here is a more visual explanation of the study design, which I guess I covered mostly. So double-blind treatment period is around 44 months. And then right now, the open-label extension is around 24 months, but we have the opportunity potentially to extend that. And in terms of the primary efficacy endpoints, or like the key questions that we want to ask, relapse or time to first MOGAD relapse is the primary endpoint, but we also have other important questions like, how the MRI would change, the relapses that happen, or how much the hospitalizations as a result of the disease would change. So these are all important additional questions that we ask in the trial. And safety questions is, of course, important. And as I mentioned, PK, pharmacokinetic, pharmacodynamic questions are also important. Like, for example, what is the serum concentration of satralizumab after its use? I forgot to mention, by the way, that satralizumab is administered subcutaneously, so every month or every 4 weeks subcutaneously. So the same dosing schedule that has been used in NMOSD would also be used for the trial, and if it gets approved in the real world. So in summary, again, I'm really glad that I'm here to meet you all, and I just wanted to share a little bit about our study. Many of you knew about it, which was heartwarming, and many thanks to Mayo for sharing the information about the trial to all of you. As I said, again, emphasize one more time that the study is still recruiting, and if any of you are interested, I will be more than happy to help. And I just want to, at the end, wish all the best for this field, which is evolving with a lot of questions that are currently being answered. I want to thank from the bottom of my heart to all the researchers, to all the sites, most importantly to all the patients that without your dedication, without your support, we could not go on this path and we could not make any progress. So thank you so much to all of you.
Can I ask a quick question, Shervin? Just to the open label component, if the trial fails, there may be an open label component for pediatrics where they would be able to go into the trial without placebo. Is that right?
If the trial fails, the question is, if
the trial when it completes enrollment, there still may be an opportunity for some pediatric patients to enroll in an open label way.
That's a very good point. Yes, and the answer is yes. So recruitment in the adolescent population has been challenging, as you can imagine. I mean, rare disease and also like 12 to 18, which is like a limited window. And as a result of that, we will be able to still continue recruiting adolescent patients specifically after what we call the clinical cutoff date. So after we are at the end of the double-blind treatment phase. So that will still continue. Great question. Please.
It's Cosmog. No, it's the other one. Oh, it's Meteoroid. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was Cosmog.
Thank you.